Fisher for three. Bang! He could.
This is the Tom and Jerry Sports Show
on All Noise Radio.
Go! Shoots, he scores! What a play by Tavares! No! Wait!
All Noise Radio. The noise you can't ignore.
This is the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. We had an interesting week of sports. Wednesday was the NHL trade deadline. And you know what? Going through this trade deadline, I kind of said to myself that this is probably the best trade deadline out of all of sports.
Yeah.
Because of so much so many deals happening. Like you could go through the NFL trade deadline and maybe one or two big trades really go through. And this one was good. This was a good trade deadline for hockey. Yeah. And I'll give you the biggest deals that happened. Probably the biggest deal was the Callahan for Martin St. Louis. We already said that week earlier that we thought Callahan was most likely going to be gone. And then towards once we got into the trade deadline, I think the deal was made around 12 o'clock Eastern. I think maybe 10 minutes before that, they were saying that Callahan was close to a deal, with the Rangers.
It's crazy how things work in sports.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was sounding like they were still going to make the trade for St. Louis, and they were going to have Callahan and St. Louis. Yeah. And then it sounded like the Rangers put two deals on the table for Tampa Bay to pick. And I think the one trade was Callahan, a first and a second, and for St. Louis. Yeah. And then the second one was Zuccarello, Kreider, and I think a second-round draft pick for St. Louis. So, I mean, to me, this trade...
And I also think,
I don't know,
barge in here, but I think the second rounder can become a first rounder if the Rangers make it to the conference finals.
And the same thing with, Tampa Bay gets a conditional draft pick if they don't make the play.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stipulations in this trade. The base trade was Callahan, a 2014 first, and then a 2015 second, I believe it is, or vice versa. And then for St. Louis, and I think a fifth rounder or something like that.
Yeah, conditional fifth rounder.
Yeah. It was a 2014 conditional second round pick and a 2015 first round pick. And Tampa Bay just traded St. Louis. So...
And it's most likely going to be a rental, you would assume, with Callahan.
Well, that's another thing. Supposedly, in the beginning, they said that Callahan is probably too much money for Tampa Bay to handle.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be a rental, but then also Callahan said that he will look into, re-signing. And that was one of the conditional. If he doesn't re-sign with Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay gets a draft pick.
Yeah. And I think that was mostly what they're trying to get out of it anyway.
Yeah.
They had to move St. Louis, they felt like, because he was, I don't want to say complaining or making a scene or anything.
He wanted out.
He wanted out. He wasn't happy there.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time there to begin with. It was just a time for a new start.
Supposedly, the riff kind of started with him being snubbed from the Canada team. Okay. Because Steve Yzerman, who, runs the Lightning, also runs the Canada team.
Yeah.
And St. Louis didn't like that, even though St. Louis still made the Canada team because of an injury. But
not being there in the first place.
Yeah, not being picked in the first place kind of, I guess, got him ticked off. And he also wanted to be traded to the Rangers a while ago.
Yeah, he said that,
supposedly.
That was a team he really wanted to be playing for. He lives in Connecticut, so it's nice and close.
Another good trade that I thought was good. The Oilers traded Ales Hemsky to the Senators for a 2014 fifth-round pick and a 2015 third-round pick. I mean, you're getting a solid player. I think he's 30 years old, solid player. he could, he does have the potential to be, a very, very good player. Right now, he's a solid hockey player. I mean, the first game with the Senators, he had 3 points, 3 assists in that game. So that's a good trade for the Senators. The Devils traded Andrei Loktionov and a 2017 conditional third-round pick for Tuomo Ruutu. It's a decent trade. Yeah. Decent trade for the Devils.
It's a familiar name.
Especially if Ruutu really comes through for them. Actually, he had a game-winning goal for them the other day against Carolina. So, you look at some of these trades, and a lot of them are working out already.
Yeah.
Not
for the Islanders.
Well, we'll get into that. But like we said, earlier after that Ryan Miller trade.
Yes, that was a good trade, though, too, that we talked about.
For Halak going over to the Sabres, well, Halak didn't even need to unpack his bags. He was sent right over to the Capitals, which is a good pick for the Capitals. That with having him and Holtby, backing each other up, that's a good deal for the Capitals, especially going towards the
probably got him pretty cheap
the
too.
Playoffs. Yeah, they got him for their backup goalie Norverth. And Kleisler, they're one of their defenders, and they got a third-round pick for 2015 and Yaroslav Halak. So it's a good trade.
Yeah.
I think the best trade that will help a team right away and really looks good for that team is Marian Gaborik getting traded to the LA Kings.
Yeah.
That right there just kind of puts them a step more closer to a cup. They were already a cup contender.
Mm-hmm.
That puts them even closer.
They were looking for that kind of player.
It's kind of like
first,
like the Ryan Miller trade, with the Blues. The Blues were a cup contender. Now that they added Ryan Miller, it just puts them a step closer. Yeah. So I mean, they're I think 18-0 in the Western Conference.
Wow.
It's
no big deal.
That's crazy. It was one of the divisions in the Western Conference that they're 18-0 against. Like that's the Blues, and I think Ryan Miller's 3-0 since he's been traded there. So that like I said, that was a huge trade for the Blues. Huge trade.
Big for the fans too. Show them that you're in it to win it. Basically.
Yeah, Luongo getting traded to Florida.
Yeah.
Also, because of the whole rift between Tim Thomas and Roberto Luongo, it was starting to be headline news now that that they were going to be backing each other up. Well, that didn't last long because Tim Thomas was sent over to Dallas later that day. Also, I mean, there was a few other big trades. David Legwand was traded from Nashville to Detroit, which is a good trade for Detroit. And the Penguins just keep getting better and better. They get Lee Stepniak from Calgary for a third-round pick, and they also added Marcel Gotch from Florida for a 2014 fifth round and a 2015 third round. How these trades happen for the Penguins, I have no idea. At one point, it sounded like they were going to get Vanek or Kessler. I mean, I don't know how this happens. I don't know how they have enough money for this.
Also, the possibility of Molson before the trade deadline. So they had all the
some of the top names. Speaking of Molson, he was traded to Minnesota. So everybody that had to go went. Yeah. And Thomas Vanek went. And as an Islander fan, I'm not happy about it.
We got back less than what we traded for.
The thing is, we traded a first and a second round.
It was too much to begin. Yeah, it was too much to begin with
for him that we didn't even know he was going to sign back. It was just pretty much a hope that he would sign back, and I do believe he would have signed back if we would have did the same thing that we did last year.
Yes, agreed.
This year, last year we took one step forward, and this year we took about 10 steps back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, this is the Islanders are horrendous this year. Horrendous. I can't even tell you how many 2-goal.
It's Knicks tape. I mean,
it
hockey
really is.
Version.
Yeah, it really is. The same colors and everything.
Yeah. Same disappointment.
Yeah. I can't even tell you how unsatisfied I am with a 2-goal lead going into the third period.
Yeah.
Because I know it's gone.
Yeah.
I know it's gone. It's like that's the Islanders for you, and it's like every game. It's like, oh yeah, we got a 2-goal lead going into the third period. Boom, right away, it's a goal. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, here we go again. Then they play like a decent third period until about 2 minutes left in the game, and then they give up that next goal. And then you know what? 2 seconds later, they give up another goal, and then they lose.
No need for overtime.
No, exactly. So, the Islanders have no chance of making the playoffs. We already know that. So getting rid of Vanek had to happen. He wasn't going to sign with us. We had to get whatever we had to get. Supposedly one of the trades on the table for Garth Snow was Clarkson from Toronto, but the Islanders had to eat up all of his contract. Islanders didn't want to do that. But this is all, supposed. We don't know what actually happened with that. Garth Snow said this trade was the best trade on the table for them.
I mean, shouldn't have thrown so much in the first place to get him for quote unquote hoping on prayer, basically.
We traded Thomas Vanek and a 2014 conditional 5th round pick to Montreal for Sebastian Kohlberg, a mediocre prospect, and a 2014 conditional 2nd round pick.
So you couldn't even get like a first round. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Supposedly, Sebastian Kohlberg, this is his first year, with an NHL team. He was in the draft last year. He was on the big board for the Islanders. He was their number one, guy that they thought if he was to drop down to them, that was the guy that they were going to take. They didn't get him. They ended up taking Polka. So now getting, being able to get him, it's like they got both of the guys, their number 1 and number 2 guys on their board from the draft from last year. So, I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you put it that way, it makes it sound a little better.
It was either last year's draft or the year before that. So, I mean, either way.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at that, like the management kind, all right, you know what? We got the 2 draft picks that we wanted. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they gonna come through for us? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? It's not.
The fun part.
It's not a Nathan McKinnon kind of draft pick, but it's a draft pick, whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's all like with these prospects, you never know unless they're just phenoms, like Nathan McKinnon. So that was pretty much the trade deadline. A lot of other trades went down. Those were pretty much the biggest trades. The Bruins got Andre Mazzaros from Philly. They desperately needed a defender in Boston, and they got their defender. So, it was a productive trade deadline for the NHL.
And there's always, like we said at the beginning, this is one of the top trade deadlines because in other sports it'll be, this guy's going to go here, maybe he'll go here, and it never happens usually in hockey. A lot of the big names that are going to be moving, they move. Yeah. And that's,
exactly. And that's the thing, as an NHL team going into that NHL trade deadline, if you need that one part for your team, you can get it in the deadline.
And look at Pittsburgh. They get it for cheap, too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You never know.
So
just make a trade with the Islanders,
Yeah, exactly. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. Keep it locked. Be sure to listen to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on allnoiseradio.com and the Live 365 app Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. We're going to go into a little story involving Phil Jackson. I'm sure you all have heard. The Knicks have offered, I believe first it was the head coaching job. That's what the story was last week.
That's how it started.
Yeah, and now it turned into president of basketball operations.
Yeah.
And he's a little more intrigued by that, I guess you could say.
Yeah. He also said, he would take the offer if, the setup was right.
If they had, superstars
if the setup was right.
We all know how Phil works.
Yeah. supposedly he's supposed to make a decision today, Monday, March 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Supposed to make a decision today. If not today, it's sometime this week.
Yeah.
I just don't know what to think of this whole deal, because I feel like Dolan is making this move to bring in, to keep Melo.
Yeah.
But in the other sense of it, Phil Jackson really doesn't like Melo.
Mm-hmm.
He's already come out, in interviews and stuff like that, saying that Melo needs to pass more. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. So I don't know. Dolan loves Melo. He will it's very hard for him to get rid of Melo, because he's given up so much for Melo. And
like a lottery pick this year.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing. So it's a tough pill to swallow for Dolan, and that's why I'm kind of on the fence with this deal. I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what Phil Jackson's thinking.
Yeah, I just want to see how interested Phil Jackson really is, actually. Because we know how it is in New York. Everyone just creates a stir. I personally think it's just Dolan trying to keep people talking about the Knicks.
Yeah.
While they're being as terrible as they are.
Yeah.
So whether or not he goes there, I don't. What is the point? And Phil Jackson going there, he doesn't have to prove anything.
No. Because he's not going to win with that team.
Exactly, and that's just going to tarnish his already, such an accomplished record, basically. So why risk that as Phil Jackson?
Exactly.
And
so I don't know what to. That's what I was saying. I don't know what to think about this whole deal, because, in another sense, Jeannie Buss, who's Phil Jackson's girlfriend, wife, I don't know what it is. She owns half of the Lakers.
Yeah.
So I don't know, she's going to be in LA, he'll be in New York. I don't know how that's going to work out. Obviously, supposedly it sounds like that Phil Jackson doesn't want to be always in New York. He wants to be able to do his job somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I don't, like I said, I really don't know what to think about this whole deal.
And how old is he now?
He's in his 60s.
Yes, I was going to say at least 60s. That's taking over as president of basketball operations is not, the easiest job in the world, obviously. It's very strenuous and it's a lot of hours. Does Phil Jackson really want to go through all of that at that age, for a team that's going to take a almost complete overhaul to even think about a championship? Why? There's just a lot of ifs about it. And
see, the thing with Dolan is like how Jim Buss is, how Jerry Jones is, how Steinbrenner was. Mm-hmm. He likes to be a part of it. He has to be a part of everything.
Anything with the Knicks,
everything.
He's happy.
And now Phil Jackson is kind of like a Bill Parcells. He likes to he was that great coach, but he likes to do it his way. That's one of the big things with Phil Jackson and the Lakers. How they were thinking about bringing him before they brought in D'Antoni. Phil Jackson wanted
too much control,
full control of this team, and Jim Buss did not want to give that to him. Just like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones wants full control. And the thing that annoys me with Jerry Jones is he says he's the owner, and he says this is his reasoning behind not hiring a GM. It's because he put the money into this team. He's like, if a GM wants to throw money, to buying this team like he did, then fine, he can have it. But he put all the money into it, so he deserves to have. Yeah. Which is understandable, but also
in a very selfish way.
Yeah. If you want a winning team.
Yeah. You need a football knowledgeable guy.
Exactly. Yeah. But back to the basketball sense of it, Dolan's just like that. Dolan likes to have full control of this team, and Phil Jackson likes full control of this team. So in my mind, I feel like this is a pull.
Yeah, exactly.
To get something out of Melo, to hear maybe he's not going to sign back. Maybe he will. Maybe like whatever.
Well, Melo's
it is.
already come out and said he's not happy that they're doing this.
Yeah.
While the season's still going on.
Yeah.
So this is a crazy story basically.
Yeah.
We're really gonna have to see how it all turns out in the upcoming months. You know, when
weeks.
the season.
I guess.
Well, yeah, for
it
the
could be
Phil
this
Jackson,
week. Yeah.
But you know, talking about the Melo situation.
Well, Melo's situation is going to end up being like Dwight Howard and LeBron James. How those whole situations happen.
But that's also media creating it.
Well,
too.
absolutely.
I'm not, saying people don't make bigger stories of themselves, but I still but I think it would be the best decision for him to go to Chicago. That is Melo.
That was I was just about to bring that up. That's the news going around now. We brought it up last week, and it didn't break right away. Yeah. But now supposedly they were talking about how Joakim Noah was trying to turn
recruit him basically.
And Melo said his son's favorite basketball player is Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
That's probably the best fit for him.
Yeah. That's what I'm going off of.
Yeah.
Is just what I think would be the best fit for him.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously we're not going to know until the end of the season. So we have a while. The Knicks are, I think, 4 points out of a playoff spot. I don't think
it's just because that's the East.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no regulation of how they're doing as a team.
Yeah. So they're pretty much all just in trouble. Especially if Melo leaves. They really don't have money. They don't have money. That's the thing. Like, at least when you look at teams that are tanking, and I mean, you can't even really say they're tanking, especially the Lakers.
76ers, I think I've seen some highlights there. Yeah, they're tanking.
Yeah, but like the Lakers. The Lakers are right now the number 4.
Yeah.
Draft pick. Would I love to get Andrew Wiggins?
Yeah, I think you had to kind of be in that top 4 to obviously have more chances at the top picks. But
now it's looking scary because Joel Embiid from Kansas hurt his back. Mm-hmm. So he's going to see a specialist today. So they don't know.
That's a risky pick, I feel, anyway.
That is.
I think you in this.
Supposedly, they're all the mock drafts have him going number 1.
I saw that too, and it's. I don't know, because first of all, I think it depends on what team is picking number 1, obviously, but I feel more. I don't want to say guarantee, but I would feel safer with a Jabari Parker or an Andrew Wiggins because you know what you're getting. Yeah. And Embiid, he just started playing basketball a couple of years ago. He's very, not fragile, but for his size, he's very skinny, and it's. How would that match up with a Roy Hibbert?
That's the thing when you start looking at like a skinny but big.
He's not he's not an Anthony Davis either.
Yeah.
Like just a natural freak. He's not. He's not. He doesn't have that.
Exactly. So, it's tough right now because of how he is right now the number 1 pick. Mm-hmm. And then they have Andrew Wiggins at number 2, Jabari Parker at number 3, and then they have I think Exum at 4. So. You don't know what's going to happen. First of all, it's lottery picks. So who knows who's going to get that? The Lakers can end up
with number 1.
Number 1 or number 2, depending on how they are, in that area. So right now, like I said, the Lakers are the number 4 pick.
And you want to be anywhere in the top 4 because I think it drops drastically from the number 5 spot, if in terms of how many balls you have in the spinner, whatever that's called,
in the spinner, in the raffle, thing, the bingo
thing that they use. That's
so the Lakers, like, they're not tanking because they just beat the Thunder last night. So
it's not tanking as much as just. Because
they're just in
tanking. It's no one tanks because any player is going to give 110% of what they have. It's just they're throwing guys out there that have no chance of winning.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
you
much.
could say management might be tanking, but the players are not tanking. I can tell you that much.
You know what it is? The Lakers can't even. They're putting out the guys that they have. I mean, right now, everybody just keeps getting hurt.
And that's what comes down to. Well, yeah, you can't do anything about injuries, obviously.
So it's just getting ugly. I think they just cracked the 20s in wins. So
it's just one of those years.
It was a rough year.
Yeah.
You didn't have Kobe all year.
Every team has that stretch. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a down year.
Gasol got hurt, but the trade that they did for, I think it was Steve Blake, when they brought in Kent Bazemore and
Brooks.
Marshawn Brooks.
Yes.
It's kind of working out for them.
Yeah.
Kent Bazemore has been putting up points. I've never even heard of this guy, and he's putting up points. So it I guess you could say Mitch Kupchak is making some kind of deal. The only thing is, it doesn't sound like they're going to go hard in free agency this year. It sounds like they're waiting for 2015.
Yeah, that's the bigger year, I guess you could say, in terms of who's going to be a free agent.
It all depends on what LeBron does.
Yeah.
They said the Lakers are waiting if LeBron ends up,
re-signing
in free agency. It sounds like the Lakers were going to go hard for him.
Mm-hmm.
But if he doesn't sign with the Lakers, it sounds like they're waiting for 2015, because you're looking at
Kevin Love as a free agent.
Love, Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Melo
can be.
Melo can be. But that's most likely going to happen this year. So we'll see what happens,
Yeah, definitely. And that's another thing with Melo is, financially, he can make more money in 2015 if he waited. But do you put up with another year of this?
Yeah. That's what I said. That's what I was saying. It's like, Melo doesn't like to lose.
Yes, exactly.
And right now he's showing that he doesn't like to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And next year is going to be worse than this year.
It's going to be worse.
So, does he want to stick around for this? That's the thing. I don't think he's going to want to stick around for this.
Who would? I mean,
exactly.
Any person that has, the will to win, is not going to want to stick around for that.
Exactly. It's a tough, pill to swallow for, a guy like Melo, especially that he's getting older now. He's getting older.
This is his last contract year, you could say.
Yeah,
his last
pretty much.
Opportunity at a big
contract.
Yeah, big max contract.
Like we said, he's getting old. He hasn't really done anything in his career. He's gotten to the
I think there was a conference finals,
Western Conference Finals, and lost to the Lakers.
Yeah,
it's been a tough, time for him, because he's run into such great players and such great teams.
If he's really all about winning, he's gonna have to show everyone that by taking less money.
Yeah,
and going to a team where he may not be the best player, but close to it, where it's like a 1-1A type situation. He would have to do that to prove that he's actually all about.
And that would be in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
Derrick Rose being that 1A. And if Derrick Rose gets hurt like he usually does, you slip in as that number one player. So we're going to get more into this when we get back. You're listening to Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. Keep it locked.
Okay, but I wanna know, can you get any higher and drop it down?
Be sure to listen to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on allnoiseradio.com and the Live 365 app, Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. We're going to keep it going on Melo a little bit. Why I think it would be such a good fit and why he would be such a good fit in Chicago. I think the Bulls would have to get rid of Boozer. I think it was an amnesty situation. Would be amnesty situation with Boozer. So that would happen.
Well, Boozer's starting to really slow down, though.
Yeah.
So
and he's always lacked defense. Yeah. They would always bring in Taj Gibson in the fourth quarter over him.
Taj Gibson really took a step over Boozer, lately. So,
because Taj is actually starting to score a little bit more now.
That's the biggest thing with it.
Yeah, and he's obviously the better defender, but because Melo will take the 4, presumably.
Yeah.
And that would be Boozer's spot.
And he would finally learn how to play defense.
Exactly, yeah. Under the best coach, defensive coach, and one of the best coaches in the league, period. I mean,
what he did with that Chicago team, really.
Yeah.
So.
And then you got Jimmy Butler at the 3, who I think is a very good player all around.
One of the better defenders in the league.
Oh, yeah, easily. Very good all-around player.
Yeah.
They just got Jimmer.
they did.
You know, nice bench piece who can come in.
He's
score.
kind of like a Kyle Korver kind of player.
like a wild card.
Off the bench, can drill threes.
Yeah.
You know, at ease. So, you know, Jimmer had a tough time in Sacramento because of.
He had to deal with the Maloofs at first too. When he first got drafted, which is never easy.
And another, you know, he's not that. When he was with BYU, he was that go-to player. He was that go-to player. Right now, he can't be that go-to player.
Yeah,
he's not that.
Exactly.
So when he was in Sacramento, they got rid of Tyreek Evans. So, you know, it was like, you know, Cousins and maybe Kevin Martin, and then it was him. Like, you know, like that was the bad part for Jimmer. I feel like this is a good fit.
Yeah, he needs to be like a spot up shooter
off the bench.
Exactly.
This is a perfect fit for him.
It is. In the corner, you know, wide open threes. But I think the Bulls have such a luxury with Thibodeau.
Yeah.
That they have the ability to recruit for defense. I mean, if defense is something you want to work on or you know can help win games, then you're going to Chicago.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. I mean, he proved it with Boston. He proves it every year with this team now. So, overall, I mean, and as we said before with the 1 and 1A, he has Derrick Rose, so that's there, the 1 and 1A. 2 superstars together.
He's got Noah.
Yeah, Noah, who's one of the better centers in the league.
Yeah. So
it's a great fit.
It really is a great fit, especially if, you know, money-wise they can, you know, get it going with him. And it does sound like it because they're making it more of a...
Yeah, they got rid of Dang already a couple weeks ago, whatever it was.
So, you know, I feel like this is going to be a good fit if he goes there.
Yeah,
so
I feel the same way.
But I think that will do it for basketball. We'll get into some baseball news. The Yankees, you know, our question mark that we've been talking about was pitching. Mm-hmm. And lately their pitching's been pretty good, actually. I mean, the one pitcher that is a little iffy that they had set in that starting rotation is Nova, really. He's really the only one.
Yeah.
Tanaka gave up his first home run the other day, but he still pitched well in that game. CeCe's pitching all right. Pineda's pitching out of his mind right now, so I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, that's big.
That's the one guy that I'm really excited about.
Because you can't have another, you know, injury year.
Yeah,
with him,
exactly.
Because then the experiment is basically over. You can just
I guess you could say the wild card out of this whole, you know, they have like maybe 6 or 7 pitchers that can be in this starting rotation that it's just like, you know, putting in, taking out, putting in, you know, testing it out.
Yeah.
The one guy out of all of them that is pitching lights out right now, and you probably wouldn't have thought of him being in the starting rotation. You probably would have thought him being maybe a long reliever, is David Phelps. Yeah. David Phelps the other day pitched 5 scoreless innings in the spring. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you know, if Nova doesn't pitch well, David Phelps is taking that spot. Exactly, Nova's going to be that long reliever. Yeah. So, you know, David Phelps is going to make people step up their game. You know?
And if anything at all, I mean, that's a great thing to have.
Yeah. You want more
competition.
Yeah. You want more pitchers rather than less pitchers.
You don't want any pitcher feeling like he has a guaranteed spot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not going to do you any good for your team.
Unless they're a lights-out player.
Yeah, I mean, unless they're top of the line, like a Kershaw, obviously. He knows he's the number one, but...
And with the Yankees, obviously be CeCe. Yeah, so...
But, I mean, even now, I wouldn't guarantee that to CeCe. You know what I'm saying? I mean, why not say it's an open competition for opening day starter? Why not do that? So, you know, get even more out of CeCe.
Yeah.
Everyone is patiently awaiting the start of the season.
Yeah, obviously, we got 21 more days, I believe it is.
Yeah, spring training is
20 days.
The worst thing ever.
Countdown.
Oh,
we got a countdown.
There we go.
So we got 20 days, 8 hours, 53 minutes, and 45 seconds.
This is worse than preseason football.
Because at least preseason football, there's 4 games. That's it.
That's what it is. I mean, it's just
about 25 games.
Yeah, this just drags on where it's just games that no one watches, and it just makes you want baseball even more because you know you're seeing the nice Florida and Arizona weather. You know, you're seeing perfect baseball conditions.
Yep. You're
finally seeing the game again. You're seeing your team, so everyone is just eagerly awaiting the start of the season. Oh, it's my boy.
Yeah, Adam Jones. But Baltimore's playing well too.
Yeah. I'm very excited about the lineup that they have got together now.
I forgot who pitched the other day. It pitched well for them too. We were talking about him too the other day. I forget who it was, but they're getting.
Oh, it might have been Bud Norris.
It might, yeah, it might have, yeah.
The guy they traded for last year at the deadline.
Yeah. So, they're getting, what they.
Yeah. What we hoped for last year.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm very excited about the lineup. Just seeing the boys again. Crush Davis, obviously. Hopefully, he has another big year. He's already hitting home runs in the spring training.
Yeah.
He looks jacked as ever. But Machado's going to be back. I don't even think he was on crutches a month after his injury, that gruesome injury that he had last year.
It really was pretty bad.
It was bad looking, but it turned out to be good for them.
Yeah.
Well, good for him in a way that it wasn't as serious, so he should be ready to go. He's already taking practices and all that in spring training. He's going to be fine, so it's great to see that.
It was funny because, ever since we started talking about the Orioles on the show, they've been making moves.
It's actually the past few weeks the first week 2 weeks ago when
we brought
really
up,
complaining about them not doing anything. They went after Ubaldo Jimenez,
and
that day.
That's who it was.
That day.
That's the guy that I was talking about. Ubaldo Jimenez pitched I think 2 or 3 scoreless innings the other day. So that's big because he had somewhat trouble last year. Kind of kicked it up a notch,
closed out very strong.
At the end of the season. But
he's a control guy. That's his biggest issue. It's because of his release is not fundamental. I guess fundamentally strong. It's kind of wacky and wild, but if he can control his pitches, that'll be a big part of it. And the guy you're looking at right now, which was
it was funny because
no risk, high reward, I guess you could say, with Johan.
Well, it was funny because we were talking about Ervin Santana.
Yes, we were.
Last week, and we were just talking about how it would be a good fit for Ervin Santana and the Orioles. That'd be a
pending
nice
money. That
would be a nice deal for them. And all of a sudden,
probably 2 days, 2 days at the most.
Once again, the Orioles make a deal, and it was with a Santana.
Yeah.
But not Ervin Santana.
So at first, on the headline, ESPN just said it's Santana. I'm like,
but
interesting. Then they switched it really fast.
The headline would have changed your mind about it. It was a minor league deal.
Yes.
So they signed Johan Santana to a minor league deal. So as I was saying to you, through text, right after that, this is a nice deal for them because, like I said, it's like you said just before, it's high risk, high reward at least.
Yeah.
Not even a high risk, really. It's kind of a low risk.
It's not a lot of money.
Exactly. You're going to get him for cheap. If he turns back into the old Johan Santana,
anything even close, he's obviously not going to throw the pitches the innings that he was doing because it's not sure if he's going to be a starter or bullpen yet. But any shade of what he used to be is a bonus for the money that we got him.
So you pay for a minor league deal to get him here. If he turns into what he was, you got him for cheap.
And if anything at all, you're getting a great clubhouse guy.
Yeah,
that's gonna help these young pitchers that they have, like Dylan Bundy.
Yeah. Maybe start throwing that circle change.
Yeah, and, kind of bring the pitchers closer together. He's the type of guy that he's like a glue, I guess you could say. He's got the experience. He's got Cy Youngs. He was the best pitcher in his generation.
For a while.
He was the top pitcher for at least 6 years in a row on the Twins.
Probably before he got to the Mets.
His twin years.
I would give him maybe 2 years with the Mets.
His first 2 years,
but when he was with the Twins, he was untouchable.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
So, like I said, if he gets hurt or he doesn't turn into what he was, you got him for cheap.
It's a great tutor for young pitchers like Dylan Bundy, like I said, and Kevin Gausman. A couple of young guys that, can use a talk once in a while. What am I doing wrong type of situation.
Yeah.
That right there is worth the money alone.
He's 35 years old. So it's not a bad deal for.
And even if he's a 7th, 8th inning guy, why not?
If that, or if he's a
starter,
4th or 5th starter,
it'd be even better.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll take that all day.
Exactly. So it's a good move for the Orioles. Going into, I guess, other teams, really, there really hasn't been anything, going on. I know there was one.
There's one little story that came out. Something to watch out for in the season was Ian Kinsler.
Yeah.
Formerly of the Texas Rangers.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Completely annihilated the GM of the Rangers because he's now on the Tigers, and he said he hopes they go 0-162.
Yeah.
And he had some other snarky comments about the GM, and it's that'll be fun to watch. Well, because those are two of the contenders, top contenders in the NL.
Another funny thing that happened was the whole thing with the Red Sox and the Marlins. I think was in one of the spring training games. I think the Marlins were upset about the lineup that the Red Sox put in. I think they gave a rest to most of their top players. And the Marlins GM or coach, whatever it was, came out and said something about how he was upset with that or something like that. And the Red Sox GM said they should be upset about their starting lineup, their opening day lineup. And when I saw that,
that's what I was thinking of saying, because we're allowed to say that.
I was like, oh my
shots
God.
Shots fired, man.
That's that's really going for the jugular on that.
Yeah, that's a kill shot.
Yeah. Another big news, the Royals' top prospect, Hochevar, I guess you call it, needs Tommy John surgery. So that's not good.
Yeah, he actually finally had a pretty good year last year as a relief. They moved him to the bullpen, and he finally.
He's not even a prospect.
No, he's been there for he's been there for a while. But the thing with him is he was drafted before a lot of guys like Kershaw, Lincecum.
Yeah.
So guys like it makes it harder for that. But
yeah, he went 5-2 with a 1.92.
No, he had a very good when they moved him to the relief.
Yeah, we're gonna get into some football news when we get back. You're listening to Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. Keep it locked.
You can check, we boss her.
Be sure to listen to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on allnoiseradio.com and the Live 365 app Wednesdays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Hit the block and sell drugs. That's exactly how it was. Take the Sprite and take the codeine and I pump me up a cup.
And welcome back to the Tom and Jerry Sports Show on All Noise Radio on the Live 365 app. As of tomorrow, Tuesday, March, what is tomorrow?
11th.
March 11th. It is the NFL free agency, which is a fun time to, see what your favorite team does.
Yeah, it starts at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So, you're going to see a lot of big names go.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about in the first day, but, in the days after that, big guys like, Hakeem Nicks.
Yeah, he'll be on a new team for sure.
It's looking like this. Wow, the Seahawks they're saying the Seahawks are the favorite to land Michael Bennett, which is kind of weird because I thought he was going to sign with Chicago. So that's we'll see what happens with that. That's a deal that will happen soon because I think that will probably be a first day thing.
Yeah.
See, the only reason why we thought he was gonna go to Chicago was his brother's on Chicago, Martellus Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
So they've always wanted to play for each other. Martellus actually, they just said that Martellus actually pushed, the Bears to trade for Michael Bennett when he was with Tampa Bay. But now I guess this is news to us. Obviously, it's news to us.
We'll see though. Sources are sources.
Yeah.
Stories are stories. I mean, a chance to play with your brother, I feel, is once in a lifetime opportunity, really, for any sports player at the professional level. I mean, that's a very rare to be able to do that. So
Yeah.
now that they kind of had the chance to do that, you would kind of think they would push for that.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Before I get into any more, I want to talk about some sad news that happened over this week. Yogi Berra's wife passed away, which is terrible.
Yeah.
The Yankees and the rest of baseball will be mourning that loss. But also the biggest news for the NFL, William Clay Ford Sr. died at the age of 88 yesterday, I believe it was.
Yes, yeah.
So that's big for the Lions. The whole organization. He did a lot for that organization.
A lot for the city of Detroit too, in general.
So
I'm sure they're gonna make have a patch or something on the helmet, something like that, something on the field. It's obviously a tough situation for anyone related to the Lions or that family.
Yeah. But back into free agency news. The Saints actually went on a cutting spree this last week. They cut Darren Sproles, they cut Lance Moore, and they cut as well. Who was it? I don't think they cut him actually. I think because the day before they cut them, they put him on the trade block.
Yeah.
So I guess they couldn't trade him, so they released him.
And
so Darren Sproles is going to be a big free agency acquisition for any team, really. He can help out any team. So
that's obviously the Saints trying to make some money for someone named Jimmy.
Yeah, yeah. So there's some big news. It looks like Brandon Albert will be signing with the Dolphins, and supposedly it's almost done.
Okay.
So we'll see that go right away.
That's big for the Dolphins. Tannehill was the most sacked quarterback last year, so good move for them.
And source is that DeMarcus Ware's decision is expected to be before 3 p.m. on Tuesday.
And that's like taking less money.
That's the offer that the. So the Jets released Antonio Cromartie.
Yeah,
that freed up $9.5 million for the Jets. The DeMarcus Ware deal would free up $9.4 million for the Cowboys. So 9.4, like $9 million can go a long way in free agency.
Yeah.
You could sign like 3 guys off of that $9 million.
Yeah, that's what the Jets were looking at last year with Revis.
Yeah.
For example, I mean, either whatever it was, probably like $12 million against the cap for Revis, or take that $12 million and spread it into 3 or 4 other guys. And it obviously worked out for the Jets. They went 8-8 last year. So
see now, like the only thing that I'm confused with, like it's kind of weird of like how all this stuff works. How are teams signing guys now?
Yeah,
before free agency. Is it because of I guess unrestricted or restricted?
That's exactly what I
think it has something to do with that. Well, Red Bryant signed a 4-year deal with the Jaguars, the defensive end of the Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks. The Jets are showing some interest in quarterback Sean Hill. Also, they're in on Mike Vick, which it does look like a close, mutual interest and everything. So we'll see what happens.
Well, it's better than the other team and the Oakland Raiders that are looking at him.
Sam Shields just set the tone for cornerbacks in this free agency. He signs a 4-year deal worth $39 million, I believe.
Yeah, 39.
So that's huge for like guys like Werner.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see what happens with these corners going. John Carlson, tight end from the Vikings, was released, and 2 days later ended up signing with the Cardinals. So, you look at different. There's big free agents, in this free agency. Jermichael Finley, another one of the biggest tight ends in free agency.
Yeah, coming off the serious spinal injury, it might have been, or neck.
Yeah, I think it was neck.
Neck, yeah.
He's receiving interest from the Jets, Seahawks, Giants, Steelers, and Chiefs. He can help out anybody.
Yeah,
his only
can, yeah.
His only problem is
Drops and health.
drops. Yeah.
We learned that from Madden.
Yeah.
No, he would always destroy with him.
Oh, absolutely. Bill Polian put out his Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 free agents. His Tier 1 free agents, which would be $6+ million average annual value and like a 3+ year guaranteed money. His 6 that he has is Michael Bennett, who we just said probably will sign with. It's looking like going back to
either Seattle or
going
Chicago.
back to Seattle. Antoine Bethea, free safety from Indianapolis. Earl Mitchell, a nose tackle from the Texans. Zane Beadles from the Broncos. Jason Hatcher, defensive tackle from the Cowboys. This last year for him is the reason why he's there.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
And Lamar Houston, defensive end from Oakland. So those are, the big guys that will probably go. His Tier 2 free agents would be $2 to $6 million average annual value and 2 or fewer years guaranteed money. He had Jared Allen, Eric Decker, Golden Tate, Jared Weldier, Brandon Albert, Julian Edelman, Michael Johnson, Aqib Talib, Jarius Byrd, and Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
I almost like that list more.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah.
And then the Tier 3, which would be $2 million or fewer average annual value with 2 or fewer years guaranteed money. Matt Castle, Josh McCown. This is mostly, quarterbacks and, older players. Josh McCown, Michael Vick, Sam Shields, John Beeson, Carlos Dansby, James Jones, Noshawn Moreno, Hakeem Nicks, and Ben Tate. So that's even another good.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
So, we'll see what happens, really.
But there are a lot of names out there that you have heard of that are free agents, so there's going to be a lot of things going down in the first couple of days.
Well, Julian Edelman just started contract talks with the Patriots, so I believe he'll end up back with the Patriots.
He's one of those system guys that you can tell he kind of flourishes in New England.
Yeah. And the Falcons asked Osi Umenyiora to take a pay cut or else he'll be cut. And there are talks about maybe a reunion back in New York for Osi.
Okay. All right.
What else? I mean, that's pretty much a lot that's going on in the NFL.
Yeah, it's just
free
as
agency.
we said before, I mean, with the NHL trade deadlines and all that, this is one of those things that are, generally exciting in sports is, kind of seeing what your team does to get better.
Yeah.
If they didn't win a Super Bowl, which obviously a lot of teams didn't, so it's
31.
So it's kind of fun to see, your team get the pieces that you think they need or that they actually do. It's just a cool process.
Hakeem Nicks said he wants to be the missing link for a team. He wants to be able to go in and be that reason why they just turned into a top team. Yeah. And he could be that if he stays healthy.
He could, but
if he stays healthy.
Yeah, he'll be better. It's tough because I think he'll do better with a 1-year deal. I think he's one of those players
that's
if he proves.
Yeah.
Because he had a really terrible year last year. He didn't play in games, all the things with the injuries, and he may not have actually been hurt, this and that. If he plays a great 1-year contract year, he'll get a lot of money because he's only going to be 26, 27 after that 1-year contract.
Exactly. So this, that's big. He says that he can see himself being the missing link for Indianapolis.
Yeah, I saw a couple teams. He did Carolina. He pointed out
Cam Newton, and
I believe that's also where he's from. Yeah, is Carolina. He lived like 10 minutes away from the stadium or something like that. So a little connection with that. Obviously, that would be a good fit for Panthers.
That would be
need a wide receiver.
Yeah, they definitely do. They need a top wide receiver really, but so. I guess that'll do it for the NFL. I want to just get into some of the stuff that we're doing with the show.
Yeah.
We have an Instagram. We just made an Instagram that you can find us at Tom the letter N Jerry Sports Show. All together, no spaces, no caps. We're on Twitter, which I've been really updating lately. With breaking news, You can find us at Tom letter N Jerry Sports all together. We're on Spreaker.com, Tom and Jerry Sports Show. We're on SoundCloud.com, Tom and Jerry Sports Show. We're on Facebook, Tom and Jerry Sports Show.
There's a theme here.
Yeah, exactly. We're on YouTube at my page at Jerry Naps, and that's really it. I'm trying to get us on iTunes. I'm probably gonna get us on iTunes this week. We're gonna be doing a podcast within about 10 minutes of this show.
Yeah.
We'll do a full 45 to 50 minute podcast that we'll put on iTunes and all those websites that I just put up. We're going to apply for iHeartRadio. But as I said a couple of weeks ago, iHeartRadio works on popularity. We need people to listen to the show to actually get onto iHeartRadio. So if you please, if you like sports, just give us a listen.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
check
we're
us
really
out.
asking for here.
I mean, we do try very hard to pretty much get what's in our head into yours.
Yeah, exactly.
We do know a lot of what we do. So definitely check us out. Spreaker, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes,
anything
Twitter,
anything you can put.
Yeah, any social kind of media kind of thing. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Check us out. That will do it for our show. I'm Jerry.
And I'm Tom.
Be breezy. Thanks for listening to another episode of The Tom and Jerry Show.